the plight of the Rohingya refugees, because Rahila's here with the story of one woman trying to help child refugees and doing it in a little different way than we're used to seeing.
Yeah, through art.
Nice.
But let's explain. Now, the scale of the challenges remain unclear with what's happening in Cox's Bazar, but the crisis has had a significant impact on children and women. Human Rights Watch says that many are victims of human trafficking, and they're also battling post-traumatic stress disorder and depression. But a lack of knowledge and chaos in these overcrowded camps, along with stigma and shame, has prevented many women from getting post-rape care. Now, one woman is trying to help the Rohingya community heal with art therapy. Dibarah Mahboob is an artist and an activist, and she's been working with refugees in Cox's Bazar since the influx began, and spending her days with women and children, listening to their horrific experiences of fleeing from Myanmar and the challenges they now face across the border. Also, she's listening to some of these painful stories caused by rape and sexual assault. Now, Dibarah works closely with therapists to incorporate art, music and dance to help victims overcome symptoms such as anger, anxiety and behavioral difficulties.
I use art and creativity to find ways to creatively create awareness as well as heal the women involved in giving the stories. If a number of children are drawing the same things without being prompted about what they saw, what they've been through, this reflects their subconscious and their voices in a way that can be felt to be a lot more legitimate. Art allows the pacifying of human emotions that cannot be restricted just to words or just to one or two mediums of expression. There is an artist within everyone, and these kind of therapies help even refugees get the agency that they lost.
And Dibarah just did share this piece of art from one of the children in the camps. This is from 6-year-old Razik. Now, she's also used her experience of working in the camps in her own artwork, painting her own interpretation of the Rohingya crisis, focusing mainly on empowering women and girls. Now, do you know of any art initiatives that are helping refugees right now? Get in touch with us using the hashtag AJNewsGrid, or you can message me those ideas directly. I'm at Rohingya Mohammed.
Thank you, Rahila. This is really interesting, actually. We're going to talk more about this art therapy, how it's used to improve the well-being of refugees. We've got Elko van der Wilt joining us, Director for Society Fresh, which is a group focusing on youth participation, and he is in Dhaka at the moment, in Bangladesh. So, okay, the first thing I want to know is, if you were to give a child a piece of paper and some paints or some crayons or whatever, tell me about some of the things which they initially come out with, because I imagine, or the idea in my head is that there's just all this horror that they've seen and that would sort of come out onto the paper. Is that what happens?
Hi, Kamal. Thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. When we do art therapy, we don't focus on the trauma that they encounter or that they have encountered. What we do, first and foremost, is try to create a safe space. And when we have created this safe space, we are then giving them the opportunity to tell the story they want to tell. So yes, sometimes that's the trauma that they have experienced, and they will write this down or draw this down on paper. But sometimes it's also the dreams and the things that they still want for their own future. And those are the things that they draw down on paper. So when we use art as a way to give psychosocial support, we don't tend to focus so much on trauma. But of course, trauma is a big thing because they have encountered these atrocious things, like Dibarah and also the Nobel laureates in your report reported on.
Yeah.
So there is always space for when they do want to share the trauma with us.
And what else do you do with them, Elko? I mean, I just gave an idea of drawing on a piece of paper. Do you sing and dance with them? Normal kid stuff?
Yeah, well, part of creating this safe space is having them be normal as a kid and feel as a kid again. So that's what we try to set up. But we use these different kinds of art forms to make sure that they are able to express themselves. because as Dibarah already wisely said, in every person is an artist. That's something that we try to focus on as well, because we try to focus on creativity. So for instance, when we use music as an art form, we ask them to make their own musical instruments. And with those musical instruments, we are going to start a conversation through music. And we ask them to together write a song. And by writing a song, they can write about their past experiences, but like I said before, you can also write about the dreams that you still have. And this is how we very softly and with a very low threshold are trying to open up a line of communication with these traumatized children.
Elko van der Wilt, I admire the work you do, and it's great to hear about it. Thank you so much for joining us.